Today we're going to paint this adorable garden shed. My name is Cindy and I'm with ReinventedDelaware.com, and you've been watching over the last couple of weeks of us building this adorable garden shed. And I've got the door wide open so you can see the whole thing. But anyway, today is the day that we're going to paint the back and the front and the two sides. And I'm gonna tell you, I'm just gonna put this on fast motion and we're just gonna get this project done. We're gonna paint. Let's get to it. Gosh, my paint stuff's in the house. It's all the way over here. It's not that big of a deal. I mean, it's good to keep moving, right? I've got to paint the siding on the front. It's so nice and bright outside today. I've got to paint the front around the windows. And then on the sides, I have to paint all that trim. Now the front, I can use the roller, but on the sides, I can't because the sides of this building are practically all window. And I'm not going to be able to use a roller on that. Let me show you up close. Here's the side of the garden shed slash greenhouse. This is what I'm going to be painting right here, all the way around. So I have to lift up each window, paint around all of that, go up here and paint. And I am going to only paint to this board. This board is going to remain that color. But yeah, I'll have to go around each one of these windows. I have 5 windows on the top, 5 windows on the bottom. I'm finished all the upper windows. Oops, I see a spot right there. So some of these windows had been painted red in their previous life. Somebody liked maroon windows. And anywhere I see this, I'm just kind of touching it up with some paint. I'm not worried about full coverage. I like the rustic vintage look anyway. That's really enough. The next step then is to paint that board right there in the middle. And then I'm gonna start down on that window and paint the framing around each one of these. Basically what I'm doing is going around all the areas where the roller wouldn't reach, and I tried to reach as much of it as I possibly could with that roller. There's just parts you're not going to be able to reach, so I got to get up on the ladder. This part takes me a little while, so I'm not going to bore you with that. Though stay tuned because I want to show you the effect that I created with this roller on this textured T111 board that we have on the outside of our garden shed. I am done for the day. Everything is cut in. I'll try to remember the color that I have here. This is the trim on our house, the same color as the trim, and this paint was left over from a front porch painting project that I did on our cement floor on our front porch like last year or the year before. I will link that video. It's a great tutorial. I think you'll enjoy it. And this color is the trim color of that front porch and so on and so forth. But let me show you the texture that I created with the roller. There's never a moment around here that my husband and I are not working on something. Like, there's just always something to do when you have your own. We have 1 1/3 acres, and when you have your own home and your own land, you've got to take care of it. There's just always something to do. And we both kind of like that. Well, not kind of, we do like that. We want to keep moving, we want to keep going. We love having projects to do. We like to be active. We both love to be outside. So it's all a good thing. He is going, I don't know what he's doing with that. It's like a rake on the back of the garden tractor, and I don't know what he's doing, but anyway, he's doing something. The motor just stopped, so I think I can show you the details on this texture that I talked about. Here's what I meant by the texture. So the T111 has a texture already to it, and when I painted, I deliberately left parts of it not covered. I want it to look, oops, I may had a little mishap here. And what I mean by that is the grooves in the T111, I wanted it to look like pieces of board. And I think I accomplished that. I have a little bit of this color right here and I can touch that up. So that's no big deal. But that's what I did here. I left the texture look here. Not all of the parts are painted in. I deliberately missed things like that because I wanted it to look like old wood that had been around for a long time. And you can see what I mean. It looks like slats of wood going across, but those were the 4x8 sheets of the T111 board that we put up horizontally instead of vertically, like what mostly that's how people use this kind of board. To me, it really does create the look of boards going across, and it just looks like it's been here for a long time. I love the look of this so much, and now that it's painted, I just love it all the more. Next up, I'm going to be trimming out the windows and that door. I've got the front and the back. Oh, let me show you the back really quick. But I've got the front and the back to trim out, and I'm going to do the two windows here in the front, the door, and then what do we have? Three windows in the back. They're all going to be trimmed out with some really interesting boards that I have used for a ton of projects. I'm going to pop in a couple of pictures right here of some of the things that I have made from these particular boards, and I want you to guess down in the comments what kind of boards are these. For now, hubby and I are both starving. We're starving. I've already got taco meat cooked. I like to cook batches of it and then I freeze it, and then all you have to do is pull it out and heat up the shells and boom, you've got tacos. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go in here and heat up this taco stuff and the shells and all that, and we're just going to pig out. It's actually about 2 weeks later. So life happens when you're working on projects and you just have to put stuff aside. We had family come in for a little while and that was wonderful, and then I had a week of a pretty bad summer cold. Still kind of got it. I'm better, so I'm going to start working on it today. Managed to get my eyebrows on this morning. Yay. That's big. The next step, like I just said, is to add the trim to the outside of this little building. We're going to add, got all my camera gear here too, tripods, all that stuff. We're going to add trim around the windows and the door. I'm going to turn this camera around and show you, let me put my stuff down, show you what we're going to make the trim out of. It's really cute, and it is something that I have used over and over for so many projects. Here is what I'm going to trim out around the windows. Picket fence panels that are reclaimed lumber. I've had these for a long time. They have been given to me over the years. We had some in our own yard. I tore some of them down. They're all used up, but the ones that we're looking at now were given to me by one of my nieces, who replaced the fencing around her old home with vinyl fencing, and she's like, hey, do you want these? So I've had these panels and I have lots of them. Bottoms are obviously very deteriorated, and also I have to take them apart. So these are the rails that they're secured to. So I use a crowbar. I take off each picket. I'm very careful because there are rusty nails. So the end of this is called a Gothic end. This design here, it's called Gothic. You can also get a dog ear fence panel. They're cute, but they're basically straight boards, and just the edges, the corners are cut off to make the design called a dog ear. Classic picket fence to me. But you can see here I have lots of them separated, and those are the boards that I will use to frame out the windows and the door here on the front as well as the back. Now the side windows will not be framed out. They don't need to be, they don't need any trim around them. They're perfect the way that they are, but I do think I need some trim around the top window, that other window, and of course the door, and then of course the back windows. I still have a bit of cough left over from my summer cold, so I'm probably not going to do a lot of talking today. I keep getting a tickle every time I talk, so let's just get to work. All right, what I need to do is decide what to frame out next. So you see the door, see that area where the top window and the door, they kind of intersect. The width is not the width of one of my pickets. So I gotta try out a few ideas and see what I think is gonna work. I'm not 100% sure. I'm gonna call my husband out here to give me a hand. We'll see. And I know for sure that very top edge of that upper window is going to be a challenge to cut the angles. That part I'm not so good at. So it's a lot of trial and error. But at the gable end, I have a really cool decorative piece. I'm hoping to get to that today, hopefully, if I can get this part done. And I also have to add the stops on the inside of the door frame. Let me show you exactly what I mean by that. So a stop is like this. Let me get this window open. It's wanting to stick a little bit, but oh, we'll talk about the green on the fence pickets here in a few minutes. But let me show you what the stops are. Oh, I need to plane this window down. On that side, it's still wanting to stick. And how about if well, anyway, let's go to another window. Here we are inside. These are the stops, and that's where the window, okay, there we go. So you can see there's the outside, and then I have to add these stop pieces to the door frame. I didn't do it when I was doing the windows, just ran out of whatever, steam. So I have to add the stops to the door, and that window up there is already done with the stops, and trim out the rest. But you can see better here what I mean. That area is not the width of a picket. Plus, I'm going to have the challenge of it going here. I'm not sure what I'm going to do about that. I think what I might do is try out a couple of different options to the best that I can. Let me put this back on the tripod. Yeah, to the best that I can, just try to imagine what it would look like and how I can make that look right. I mean, I think it's gonna look right no matter what. I just wanna make it look as right as possible. So let me try out a couple of scenarios. Oh, I forgot to say that before I said that I was gonna tell you about the green stuff. So the green stuff on there is just a mildew. I mean, that's what you get on like a north side, and this fence was probably on the north side. And in fact, it sat for a long time. These fence panels have sat for a long time on our north side property for the last 10 years or so. So that's the green. I'm not so worried about it. All I have to do is spray it down with some bleach, let it soak in, and it's all done. And I'll probably give everything a nice little rinse anyway once it's done. So it won't look green. And then when it's all dry and I've gotten rid of the mildew, I'll clear coat it. That probably won't happen today, but I'll just probably get it done in my spare time. Deep, huh? The next part is to figure out the gable end, and I wanted like a gingerbread kind of a look, but I didn't know how to do that because I'd have to find just the right piece, and honestly that architectural stuff is super pricey. So I've had my thinking cap on for weeks about this, and I had something laid out. Let me show you here on the ground what I have. I think you're gonna like it. Here's what I'm thinking. I'm gonna take 2 of those picket boards. They will be the top of the gable end, and then a longer board at the bottom, and I'm going to use these chair spindles. Of course, I'll have them all matched up and everything. The chair spindles will kind of create a gingerbread look, and it's gonna go right up there at the gable end. Once I knew that this angle was correct so that it would fit in that gable end perfectly, and I've tested that out, I've cut it, it's all good. Now I can kind of arrange of how to put these pieces together, and I'm going to assemble this on the ground. So I think what I'll do, totally guesswork here, I have no idea what I'm doing, I'm just figuring it out as I go. That's part of the fun. Yeah, so I took one long picket, and then I can attach it here. I have a long spindle that I think I can just screw this right through here, and we'll figure out that part in a minute. And then I have these 2 matching ones that I thought that would look kind of good going off that way. Let's see, that way? Yeah, that. And to me, that looks kind of like a piece of gingerbread. Maybe I'll go like that. It looks like a piece of gingerbread to me, only in my style. Let me know what you think down in the comments. Do you like this? Well, that's a problem. You see what happened when I put this screw in? It split this wide open. I should have known that that was going to happen. So let me go check out my stash and see if I have 2 more spindles. I hope I do, because so far I am loving this look a lot. Part of what happens when you're working on projects like this is you have just got to be flexible. You've got to be creative. You've got to think outside of the box, and don't let something like that stop you. Like, just keep going, keep thinking. And it's amazing how your mind works when you have few supplies to work with, which I do, and I like to use what I have on hand. It forces you into this creative spot that you would not have been in if you had everything you needed all the time, 100%. So let's take a look at my chair spindles. I have a thing for spindles. I really do. I love to take legs off of furniture that is otherwise very ugly and then use these for something else. These are feet from a little footstool that was in terrible shape, and then tons of mismatched spindles here and there. I've got all these here, and I have all those. And let's see, I don't know what I have, and I don't know if I have 2 matching. I do have a lot of these small ones. Ooh, that's kind of nice. What if I did it that they didn't match? That might be cool. And hey, these little white ones, oh my, I could put those towards the ends. Definitely, I'm going to keep these out. I didn't even realize I had 2 of these. So let's see what I have. I might find some that match. I might not. We'll see. Alrighty, that took a little while, and a little visitor came to find me in that corner. It's shiny purple. You know those salamander things that love to hang out in a garage? Scared the bejeebies out of me. Anyway, I found some, and I also found those 2 smaller ones that I never even thought about. This was a happy accident for sure. all the trim is done. We've got that pretty little piece up on top of the gable end, and now I'm just gonna bleach out all of the, let's fix this camera. I'm gonna bleach out all that trim and get the green off, let it sit overnight. Ultimately, I will clear coat that trim because it is original chippy paint finish and I still want to seal it in. But I gotta tell you, that fence was old, and I can't believe when I made the cuts, the quality of the wood inside, it's just like brand new. Like you would never know. I'm not gonna film this part because it's not so much fun, but stay tuned all the way to the end and I'll give you the tour of what we did today, well, over the last couple of weeks of painting and the trim and all that stuff. So hang tight, I gotta go get a bucket of bleach water. All right, so everything's bleached and washed. I'm gonna let it all dry out. I've rinsed it out and I just couldn't film that going on because my husband said, hey, let's go for a ride on the, I'm calling this thing a 2x. I don't officially know the name of it. Let me turn it around and you can tell me down in the comments the name of this thing. Actually, I think it's about a week later. That's just how it goes. And I've made some finishing touches on the garden shed. I want to give you a full tour of the outside and all the windows and the trim and the paint and all that stuff. Let's head over there and take a look. Here's our little spot with all the trim around the door, the 2 windows, and then that specialty detail up at the top. I'll show you that here in just a second. For now, let's take a look at this trim around the window, the 2 windows and the door, and I'll also take you around back. That's it for today's video. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time. So we bought this little vehicle to get around our property and to go out. Well, I'll take you with me. How about if I just film where we have been taking a ride? You want to take everybody with us, hon?
Sure, that's good.
All right, let's do it. So what's the name of this thing? It's not a 2x. What's the official name of this?
It is called a side-by-side,
Okay.
or an it's called a UTV. I think that's ultra terrain vehicle.
Okay.
Something like that. But it's a utility
vehicle, and we got it because it's going to help us with our yard work. And so we got it about a week ago or so, 2 weeks ago, and we've been on a nightly ride.
The truth is, we got it because Cindy prefers the steering wheel over handlebars on the four-wheel.
That's the truth. All right, well, we're going for a little ride. Let's go. So the farmer that we bought our land off of almost 30 years ago, can you believe it's been almost 30 years?
It doesn't seem like
It's
that.
crazy. Anyway, he has lots of fields, lots of wooded areas around us, and he's given us permission. Uh-oh, we're getting ready to go four-wheeling. I think I see mud up ahead. Let's see. Uh-oh. We might get stuck. I don't know if you can see that back there. Anyway, the farmer that we bought our land off of said, you know, go ahead and ride around the field, stay off the field, obviously. There's a nice path around that whole area that I just showed you. We like to ride around that. It's about a mile trek all the way around. And right now we're just in the thick woods. It's just so much fun to come out here, and it's kind of like our own nature trail. And yeah, so it's a lot of fun. It's been a nice time to just come out here and ride on this thing. I didn't think I'd enjoy it this much, but I really do. Do you?
Yeah, I'm having fun.
Having fun, and we're using it. Oh, branches are coming in, but anyway.
So we're scoping out firewood for next year.
Oh, yeah.
Ride back here and you can find limbs that have fallen.
So anyway, I'm sorry I cut you off. You were saying that you find trees and limbs and...
Come back here in the summer and you can usually find trees that have fallen and limbs, big limbs that have fallen.